Hey, and we're there. Welcome to Friday, guys. Welcome to Friday. Massive Iron Live. It is Friday, August 18th. We're almost to pumpkin spice time or whatever the heck it is, man. I don't get into all those pumpkin drinks and pumpkin beers and all that kind of crap. I don't know if that's your thing. I won't judge. I won't hate, but hard to believe we're almost in September. And when September hits, we're going to have all that stuff. So welcome to Massive Iron Live, guys. I appreciate you joining me. A couple of things before I start answering questions. Number one, if you're new here, don't be shy. Post up your questions. I answer every question. There's no dumb questions, no stupid questions, just awkward questions. And some of you are just damn weirdos, so I'll answer your questions anyway. No judgment. I love you anyway. I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to continue doing this until I die. That's the plan. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to talk lifting, nutrition, off topic. You can post questions on anything. So I do not mind. If your question doesn't go through, try shortening it, rephrasing it, or you can also head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, slide into my DM, and you can post your question there. So that's about it. Sometimes YouTube doesn't really work well with comments. It has a really odd filtering system and an odd triggering system, as far as comments go. So don't panic if your comment doesn't go through. All right, so before we get started, just a couple of things, guys. I will stay on as long as you have questions. Let me just bring this up here. Sorry. If you need coaching, check out the link. Check out the link to coaching right here. I'm pretty full right now, but there's always something going on. So if you're interested, you can head over to the coaching link at superlivingtoday.com and fill out the form, and we can kind of assess needs. Team Massive Iron, teammassiveiron.com. You can join if you're tired of Facebook, tired of all the crappy social media. Head over there, and we have a really good community. I'm always trying to keep it growing, trying to keep it active. My website, superlivingtoday.com. I have a lot of workout options. I have a lot of workout options on this channel for free. But if you want some good workout ideas, check out the workout tab up there. So how's everybody doing today? See any good videos this week? Anything tickle your ovaries as far as interest? So on and so forth. And what's on your mind as far as lifting, man? I don't mind you guys posting off-topic stuff. I don't mind you posting random questions. So hit me up. Just a reminder, and we'll get into it right now. If you post a question before live starts, you get a chance to win a free shirt, hoodie, way, Team Massive membership, etc. I also have something on my regular video. So those of you that want a chance to win some extra stuff, any video I post during the week on Saturday, I go through and pick a winner, a comment crew winner. So you can go back on any videos posted this week, leave a comment for a chance to win as well. And I just kind of draw them random. I scroll and spin and do all that fancy stuff. All right, let's dive into things. Dumbbells and donuts. Happy Friday, Team Massive. Wishing you a happy weekend. Speedy recovery. Thank you. For those of you guys that don't follow me on social media or on Team Massive, I woke up yesterday with what I would call 10 out of 10 pain internally by my rear kidney, just out of the blue. And went to the doctor a couple times. I usually don't go to the doctor unless a limb is falling off. So that'll kind of give me an idea how bad the pain was. But I don't know, we're looking at kidney infection, something like that. So we'll see. But the pain is pretty bad, but I'm sit-fooing it. I'm sucking it up. Stein, happy Friday. Thanks for joining in. Tim, happy Friday to you. Busy weeks ahead, aren't they all, Tim? Aren't they all? Might be only get 3 workouts in a week. I should be good, right? Yeah, 3 is kind of the, like, you can hold steady with 2. 3 is kind of the bare minimum I personally like to do, but nothing bad is going to happen. It's really the guys that don't lift, for week in and week out over a long period of time that run into issues. Thank you, Christian. That run into issues. So, don't worry about it. We kind of get paranoid in a lifting world that everything's so fragile that if we don't have perfect sleep, perfect workouts, it's going to throw things off. The reality is, hard training and consistent nutrition are king. Buddy boy, what's going on, buddy boy? You want to come for a visit? Come here, buddy boy. Oh, buddy boy. So if you have hard training in the mix and consistency, you're good to go. Nothing to worry about at all. I see a shadow up there. Who is that, buddy boy? You don't want to be on camera? This buddy boy. This is my dog. This buddy boy, he just kind of hangs around and follows me everywhere. He's the best boy in the whole world. Put your smiling face on camera. He's got some of the dapple markings you can see on his paw, and he is a beautiful dog, white, black, and brown. Just a great personality. Loves to play, loves to rascal around. He's a rascal. All right. Somebody else is in here. I see somebody else in here. We got another dog roaming around. Big Tim, deload, running next week. There's Snoopy. What's going on, Snoopy?
Snoopy Doo.
There's Bubba Sausages.
Scooty Roody.
Thank you.
Scooty Roody.
Look at my wife. She's such a wonderful servant.
Because I brought sausages.
Yeah,
I brought all the sausages.
I went downstairs to do something. I ended up talking to my beautiful wife, and I forgot to get my energies, so we can't have that. This is Bubba Mix sausage. What's going on, Bubsy? What's going on, Bubsy?
Oh, Chi-Chi's biting his butt.
Bubba, you're too fat to be on
Chi-Chi jumps and bites everybody's butt.
Bubba, you're too fat to be on
You're just a Chi-Chi monster.
Bubba's a big fat loaf.
Come here, bring Snoopy. Snoopy Doodoo. Come here.
Bubba's a fat loaf.
Snoopy's dancing.
Sorry, we got a little break in the program here.
Snoopy's dancing.
Have the sausages attack.
Snoopy's dancing.
Okay, Bubba.
Snoopy's a little angel.
All right, fat loaves. I gotta get back to the program.
Okay. Oh, Chi-Chi bites everyone's
All right, see you guys.
Chi-Chi bites everybody's back.
Okay, tell it before you go. Give everyone one word of wisdom.
Eat chocolate. Good stuff. Only the good stuff, because it gives you abs.
That's the last time you're allowed.
It gives you abs like this.
It doesn't do that. It doesn't give me abs. Whoa, somebody biting. She's full of shit. I'll tell you.
Only the good stuff.
All right, have fun. Deload running next week. Would you still keep the daily average step count the same? Don't worry about things, Tim. I mean, my best advice for you is, don't overthink life, guys. I mean this in the best possible way. Just live your life. A couple of variance in step count isn't going to make any difference. And if you're bulking and you're going to do a deload, remember you're probably still building, probably still recovering for a few days after your last workout. So relax. If I deload, it depends on the grand scheme of things. If you're deloading and you are, going to head into a new program, you could take a week at maintenance if you wanted to. There's no downside really, but I don't want you guys to get in the trap that you have to overthink things like step counts during deload. And this stuff is all so tedious and it's all so unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? So don't over worry this stuff, guys. Morning, Steve. On a 3-time-a-week full body, is it enough to bench 2 days and then do? No, I don't like that at all. You need some exercise variety in the mix. It's not that bench and push-ups are bad exercises, but let's get some other stuff going on here. A dumbbell variation is great for hypertrophy. If you're at home, you need to do a dumbbell barbell, and I wouldn't even have push-ups as my third. I'd have like a barrel press, or at worst a dumbbell fly supersetted with push-ups, or dips supersetted with push-ups. Let's raise the intensity a little bit, raise the exercise variety a little bit. That only brings with it upsides. All right. How often should you work in a neutral grip bicep exercise? Well, you don't really have to. I will tell you, it's not something I've really spent a lot of time doing myself in 38 plus years of training. That doesn't mean you can't. That doesn't mean it's a bad idea, but you don't have to really over worry about this stuff. If you wanted to work in a neutral grip, like sometimes I've done pinwheel curls, which are arguably, hey, dog's barking. If sometimes I've worked in pinwheel curls, which are a variation of neutral grip. Sorry. But if you want to work in hammer curls, the best thing you could do is maybe do them every other week. There's only so many bicep slots per week, right? So a good place to start would be maybe doing them every other week. So you have a good meat and potatoes amount, on your regular biceps work. Carnivore barbell, happy Friday. And what situations would you take a complete rest day? I don't really do deload days, to be honest with you. If I feel beat up like I'm now, sick, something's going on, energy's down, sleep is down, whatever, I usually just skip the gym. I don't like to go personally, and everybody's going to vary here. I don't like to go to the gym and move 60% of my normal weight. I don't like to do that. If I'm going to go to the gym, I'm not going to be able to hold back. I just mentally cannot enter that suckification zone where I'm doing like a deload. Like, I just can't. I hate it. It's not me. You guys might be different. That's fine. But I prefer just to take a rest day. I don't. Deloading, I think, is kind of a little bit overblown in the sense that if you're feeling sick, you're feeling off, you're feeling beat up, probably a better idea just to take a couple days away from the gym than to drag your butt to the gym and do, 60, 70% of your normal weight, or 60 to 70% of your normal volume. You can certainly do that if that's your thing. But I would probably encourage you to land on the side of rest days. Arut, what's going on, Arut? Happy Friday. Keep those questions coming, guys. We got a lot in the queue, but I'm going to keep ramming through things. When you've had an injury setback and you're nervous about weight bearing again, what weight do you recommend starting with? After I had my hamstring tear, my bad hamstring tear, right before the age of 50, I start bare minimum. You gotta start with the bare minimum. You have to really ease into things. There's no rules, but you need to go as low as you can, especially if there's a fear of something happening. If there's a fear, you need to go as low as you can until you feel a little bit better, until you regain your confidence, if that makes sense. Don't stick with arbitrary percentages. You're going to have to kind of work up, from a very low weight, see how that feels. When I tore my left shoulder once, lifting up an empty oil drum at work. It just random. I lifted up an empty oil drum, which I don't know, it doesn't weigh that much. And I tore a muscle in my left shoulder. I just start with the bar, and then next week 50 pounds, and then next week 55. I literally did that until I got back up to my normal weight, and I ended up 2 years later benching a 500-pound lockout, which is here on this channel with chains and a slingshot. It wasn't raw, right? So it had a bench slingshot, but it took me 2 years. There's a huge mental aspect when you get injured. When I hurt my hamstring, when I tore my hamstring, it took a long time for me to get back to heavier squats. I eventually got back to like 455 by whatever on squats. I don't know, generalized numbers, but it took me a long time to get back to that. And I'll tell you, most of it was mental, not physical. Once you tore something moving heavy weight, mentally you kind of open the door and you're a little bit nervous that it's going to happen again. All right, Tim, thoughts on Paul Carter's stuff? All right, so Paul is somebody I've met in person. We've coached at the same meets, UPA meets, somewhere in the long road ago, right? So I respect Paul. I've had Paul on the channel once. Does that mean we agree on everything? No. Do we agree on a lot of things? Yes. I don't like minimal training. I don't believe it's the way to go. You guys can do your own research. My foundation, and this is not a dig on Paul, my foundation is to look at the entire history of lifting, everybody from every era, and look at weekly volume, look at exercise selection, to look at all these things and find a normalized central location in all of them. So I think it's reasonable in my mind to stay centralized. If we look at everybody in the history of lifting, from Steve Reeves to whoever, current natural champions, what are they doing? What are they doing? Does that make it right, perfect, optimal? Well, not one blip, but if you have a million blips and you look at the averages, that's probably a good place to start. And that's pretty much where the massive iron world is set up. Now, I have spent my life studying programming. It's my obsession, right? I've studied programs in magazines and in books from everybody. I've written articles on nearly every style of programming I've worked with when I was in the industry, doing reviews and write-ups of every program in the world, from Bill Starr's 5x5 to Lane Norton's FAT to whatever. I've been there in the trenches, right? I've done content development. I've talked to John Meadows on the phone. I've trained with the Donnie Thompson, the then strongest powerlifter in the world. I have this overlap of this obsession with programming and this overlap of really meeting or training with or being in the industry, or was in the industry. So I get kind of a perspective of seeing people in the gym and seeing programs and kind of seeing this convergence. How is everybody training? So I like to be centralized, right? I like to start at a central point, volume per week, reasonable exercise selection, not elevating tools like drop sets above the important things like general hard training. There are some folks that'll come on and drop sets are the ultimate, and you need to do drop sets. Or if you're not doing drop sets, you're not doing anything. You're not doing it correctly, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. But there we're putting in a non-essential tool and making it an essential focal point. So start centralized, evolve your training based on needs. What's the most frustrating thing you see as a coach in terms of clients standing in their own way? Well, for muscle building, I will list some of the things that are red flags for me, like people I have to drag workouts from. Like, I don't know. I do not assume what is going on with a client. I can't. Sometimes it's personal issues. Sometimes they're passionate about lifting, but they have other things going on in their life. So I never assume why they're not submitting workout reports. But with that said, people that don't submit workout reports generally don't have the passion to make it. Folks that are always constantly looking for new programs, even when in coaching, that's they don't even realize they're doing it. That's sabotaging. I did 3 sets by 10 on squats. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to add weight next week. I'm going to wait to add it the next week. Like, that whole mindset is toxic. It happens. And I don't push clients. I nudge them. I try to gently pull them down the tracks to where they want to go. It's a relationship. You have to meet everybody where they're at, and that's part of coaching. You just can't hand out a program and say, do this or you suck, right? It's not the way it works, and it's not the way human beings work. So that's an issue. The biggest issue, though, overall is nutritional inconsistency. There are a lot of different types of lifters. The skinnier guys that fear weight gain and calories are up and down, or they don't track, or they never gain weight. Look, I've had guys that are 122, 132, 142. Name your whatever weight, that for some that don't want to gain weight, whether they realize it or they don't realize it. You cannot be 122, 132, 142 and pack on 30 pounds of mass and stay at that weight. It's physically impossible. I've never met a 122, 132 pound guy at normalized height that has gained 30 pounds of mass, lost 30 pounds of fat, stay at the same weight, and looks amazing. It doesn't work like that. So mostly it's people not taking nutrition seriously. I don't judge people. I don't really care. But if you come to me wanting to maximize your goals, and you're on a bulk, and every weekend you're eating like a pig and drinking beer like a pig, and your calories are way up on the weekend, and then either you're going to gain weight more rapidly than you are supposed to, or you're going to have to pull back during the week to accommodate for the habits on the weekend. Again, I do not give a crap what you do on the weekends, but I will say this. If you want to build muscle and you don't want to turn into a fat ass, you need to stop being a fucking pig on the weekend. I mean, you have two conflicting goals. You want to go out and be a binge drinker and a binge eater, or, splurging. Oh, you're taking away my fun. Well, you have a very specific goal. If let's equate this to like someone training for the Olympics in 2 years. You have a very specific goal. If you want to go fuck off and drink and eat like a pig and gain weight a little bit more rapidly and then have to pull back during the week, you're going to deal with recovery issues, during the week, right? Because your calories are a little bit lower. If you have a very specific muscle building goal, I'm sorry to break the news to you, but you probably need to keep your calories pretty steady. Do you have to micromanage them? No. Do you have to weigh your food? No. But you can't be on the weekends blown out like Mr. Piggy Pigs, right? 7 beers and whatever meal is from whatever Grubhub you're doing or wherever you're going. Hey, I get it, man. That stuff's fun. I get it. But it's in direct conflict with maintaining a reasonable bulk. So that's hard. And, you got to kind of nurture a client until they see the light of day, so to speak, on that. Sabotaging mostly comes with nutrition. People that don't eat enough, or people that overbulk. people that are afraid of moving up in weight when the progression indicator tells them to move up in weight. You have to, right? Tim, ever tried drag curls? Tim, probably about half of my clients do drag curls. I was doing drag curls for most of this year, so absolutely. I actually put up a massive, I'm going to be making a video on this, but it is something called massive curls. I want to give it a name because it's easier to reference something that's a different type of protocol if it has a name. You know, I always debate giving things a name because it sounds so egotistical. Like, I invented something called massive curls, you know, pat myself on the back. But really, I found that if it doesn't have a name, it's harder to reference, especially when you're building workouts. So the way massive curls work is you do a strict set of easy bar barbell curls, 8 to 10 reps, right? Strict set, normal. Then you're holding the bar at full extension. You're going to wait 10, 15 seconds, catch your breath a little bit. And then we're going to do like as many cheat reps as we can, not sloppy or things that are super dangerous, but we're going to do some cheat reps until we can't do them. Then we're going to hold the weight for 10 to 15 seconds. Then we're going to finish out with drag curls to failure. So this is one big mega set, if you will. It's like a progression. If you guys have heard of like exercise progressions, you move from an easy or straight bar curl to a cheat to a drag. And it's all one mega set. So try that. Let me know what you think. Skinich. Mr. Skin Spinach. Big, hairy, ugly dude. Why do you do tricep kickbacks despite their weird resistance curve? I find I can really target the inner head of the triceps. I'm not going to say everybody can, but I don't do them often. They're kind of on my junk work. The meat and potatoes of my triceps work are close grips, tricep press downs, JM presses, skull destroyers, things like that. But on my junk day, if I have extra energy, I'll do kickbacks. I can really feel the inner head of the tricep. I can really get a good feel and contraction with them. I don't find the resistance curve to be awkward. I start with the weight just a little bit, like my wrists a little bit forward of my elbows, and I can get a pretty good feel on them. Do I think they're the greatest thing in the world? No, but I think they're a fun exercise at times. 1 cent. What's your opinion on front-loaded progression, i.e. first set versus back-loaded progression last set? Well, there are advantages and disadvantages to everything. If you use your first set as a progression indicator, then, you know, the sets afterwards, whether they're back off or whatever, you know, they're going to come up when the top set comes up, right? That's the way it works. If you do your first set deep, the sets, and it hits 10 or 12 reps or whatever you're aiming for, the sets after that are likely going to be deep as well. Or when I say deep, close to failure. So when you use like front-loaded progression or your first set as a progression indicator, usually every set in that mix is going to be closer to failure. So let's say you do 10 reps and that's your max effort on the first set, right near failure. The second and third set are probably going to be right near failure. You might get 8, you might get 7 reps. Does that make sense? So when you do the last set as a progression indicator and you're doing 10-10, usually you do 10-10, and then the last set is near failure. Sometimes the second set might be you might hit 10-9 and 7 after moving up in weight. But that's really the only reason I do that on a lot of my back off sets in my workouts and with my clients, to reduce the overall number of sets that are pushed for maximum safe reps. There's nothing wrong with increasing the number of sets you do for maximum safe reps, but when the average lifter comes to one of my programs or any program, for that matter, and they have to increase, they're likely increasing the intensity of their workouts just by getting on a more structured program. If we move them immediately to all sets close to failure, it's going to be really, really challenging. I don't think that's the brightest thing to do. Now, my book, Massive Iron, had the rep goal system where most of the sets were pushed for max safe reps. I'm not against that. I'm not against you guys doing front loaded or all sets for max safe reps. Just be smart. But it's okay. What I'm saying is it's okay to ease into things. The only difference in my new book that I'm writing now compared to Massive Iron is that Massive Iron was really founded around the way I train, max safe reps on every set, where I used to train. In my new book and in my new program and all the stuff I've been doing the last 8 years, there's room to do different progression approaches, threes, last set, dynamic double progression, that sort of thing. And one set, I'm gonna give you and Skinich a win here today. And don't go anywhere, guys. I might hand out some more free stuff, but you guys can go over to Instagram @BenTheBarman, and slide into my DM. You can see the Instagram down below. Slide into my DM, and you guys, I'll give you a free shirt, hoodie, way, or Team Massive membership if you're not on Team Massive. So thank you guys for the good questions. Let me get that annoying banner off. All right, where are we at? When eating at Maintainians, just humor, folks. Do you think it's still good to have eaten some carbs before training? Yeah, I mean, carb timing around training makes sense. You don't want to go in your workout bloated. You want to go in glycogen depleted either. So you want to be smart about that. Meal timing, carb timing, all that stuff doesn't really matter beyond what it matters relative to common sense. So you want to go in feeling good, having glycogen in the muscles, that sort of thing. And it's probably a good idea to have some carbs, simple carbs, and protein after a workout. You never want to go in depleted in any way, like carb depleted, water depleted, sodium depleted, electrolyte depleted, or just feeling, snot bubble tired. So, Mark, welcome to the party, Mark. Good day, Coach. Big, hairy, ugly dude. How do you properly run a prolonged bulk? What we have to do first off is be in the position mentally and weight-wise where we can run a prolonged bulk, and we're not going to sit there every month like, I feel fat, right? What I mean is, if you don't feel completely comfortable with your body fat percentage right now, say you're at 19, 20-ish, and you're not, super lean, you're also not sloppy at all, right? But if you go for a 20-pound bulk over 10 months, are you going to get to the 10-pound gain mark where you've gained like 3 or 4 or 5 pounds of fat? And are you going to be like, I feel, fat, right? So you want to start in a position where you're not going to run into that, okay? Generally, you have to understand that anything less than about 2 pounds a month is probably going to be harder to micromanage and harder to bulk on. So, you want to do a 20-pound bulk in 10 months, that's fine. You also have to be okay with doing a cut after you're done because we want to keep our health and our weight in check. So, I would not, I would plan out my programming at least for the first 3, 4, 5 months. If you're going to do a long bulk, you're probably better off doing a 5-month block with one program and then maybe changing it up mentally a little bit, not dramatic, but maybe 2 5-month blocks of different types of programming, maybe not extremely different, but just some variance in there for your own sanity, if that makes sense. Steel Rat goes to gym. Happy Friday. Thank you. Appreciate you joining. Rico, how's it going? Skin itch. I want to improve my strength, but I'm also afraid of going heavy. You don't have to go heavy. That's kind of this myth of strength training that we always have to do singles, doubles, and triples. I built up 98% of my strength never going below 5 or 6 reps on any lift. So I want you guys to always remember you build your base on reps. That helps you build a muscle base, which helps you build a strength base as well. So you need to progress when you can progress. You need to be able to focus on form, right? Focus on form, not feel. One thing that's a difficult thing for lifters to understand when they're in the pit is like they'll get under a squat or they'll get under a bench and it'll feel heavy. This feels heavy and they'll get intimidated. They'll get weight intimidation and they might wait for the weight to feel light. They'll go through all these mental tricks. What you have to understand is you have to get in the position where you don't worry about how a weight feels. Just because a weight feels heavy doesn't mean you can't lift it. You have to focus on form. At some point, the weight is going to feel heavy because it really is heavy. Just because I got my squat maximum up to like 340 by 2 or 3, whatever it was, doesn't mean 400 doesn't feel heavy to me. When I was warming up on those days, back in the dungeon days when I was squatting my most, 400 still felt heavy because it is a lot of weight. And then I would do a 445 set, a 495 set, a 545 set, a 595, 585 set, and then working my way up. But the point here is you have to focus on form, not feel. That's the game. If you can't do that, you're not going to get strong. Bottom line, you're not going to get strong. You have to focus on form over feel. You have to be smart. But if you can't get past that, you're never going to be strong. John, can you tell us about a client that had a busy schedule and could only train twice a week? Well, first off, this is not uncommon. When I'm working with my clients, and again, if any of you guys are interested in coaching, check out superlivingtoday.com. When you're working with clients, you adjust. Random things come up, right? I'm going on vacation. I want to only train 2 days a week, or my work schedule just increased this next month and I have to work 60-hour weeks and I only want to train twice a week. What we have to do is you have to understand we're going to need to make cuts somewhere. We need to make cuts. So what is the minimum we'd like to keep in? Well, probably 2 sets of squats, 2 sets of bench, 2 sets of dead, 2 sets of overheads, right? Those are probably going to be our cornerstones. We're going to leave some room for some other stuff. We have to be reasonable. If you want to do 3 sets of those, fine. If you want to do a 5x5 of those, fine. Whatever you program in, you have to be willing, to, take the punishment, meaning time in gym. My suggestion would be to start with 2 of these sets. So you do squat and bench, 2 sets on workout A, deadlifts and overhead, 2 sets each. And then we try to slot in whatever else we can after that makes sense. So Obviously, arm work and hamstring work are going to be our last priorities. We want to get in as much of the bigger stuff in as we can. So from there, we're probably going to put in an extra back exercise, an extra chest exercise, an extra delt exercise, and an extra quad exercise. So we have 4 more exercises in addition to the 4 we already have. So we have 8 exercises in the mix. 8 exercises in the mix for 2 days. That's 4 a day. That leaves us with about 2 more a day to work in, that we can work in whatever pet exercises we want. So you could add in, more. You could add in more back work if you want. You could add in a bicep exercise. You could add a tricep exercise. You could add a hammy, whatever you want. Does that make sense? Bench press, 3 sets by 3 to 5 reps. Dumbbell incline, 3, 10 to 12. That's not too far off from the kind of the basic structure of the power muscle block burn world. So that's fine. I'm not sure, for the average lifter, we need to go down to 3 by 5. The lowest I probably go in any of my workouts is 4 by 6. But you're not going to die if you do 3 by 5. So if that's what you want to do, just be smart and get in enough volume on your other exercises, like your dumbbell inclines. All right. Howie, get well soon. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me get a drink here. Keep your questions coming, guys. I'll stay on as long as you have questions. One thing I don't like about working out above 10 reps is that sometimes I feel it doesn't feel like I'm working till that's pretty much the way it's going to feel on a lot of exercises, regardless of the rep range. But every exercise is going to feel different. That's why we have to allow room in our programming to evolve training based on needs. So this is why I list this as one of my cornerstones of programming. If you don't like 12 on a certain exercise, move it to 10. As long as the rep range is reasonable, you're fine. What are your thoughts? Doesn't matter. No, it does. Rep ranges don't matter as long as they're reasonable. So just, if you don't like 12, that's fine. If you don't like 15, you want to do 12, that's fine. If you don't like 12 on an exercise, you want to do 15, that's fine. It doesn't have to make sense as long as it's reasonable. It doesn't have to make sense to the guy next to you as long as it's reasonable. On leg extensions, you might like to do 15s. Because of the resistance curve in the field, you might feel like you get more work out of 15s. Leg press, you might feel like you like them better at 8s. I have some clients that like leg press at 8. I have some clients that like leg press at 15. Both are reasonable rep ranges, but as long as you're progressing and form is good, it doesn't really matter. Albert, can I work out in my living room? I can only work out in my living room for 2 years. You can do anything with barbell, dumbbell, and little cable station. We can get that in there. We don't need a TV anyway, man. Right? But yeah, put a little TV in there, put a little couch in there. You're good to go. You can do anything as long as you have good tools. Thoughts on anabolic desensitization? I'm not sure here, Albert, if you're talking about receptor desensitization. So this is a topic you don't see talked about a lot. So back in the day, let's talk about intense training, really intense, extra volume, intensity techniques like heavy duty, stuff that is like next level intense, right? Increasing the intensity, the workout intensity, however you do that. Back in the day, there was a lot of discussion on the boards about intensity training, anabolic users, and how they could benefit from extra volume, how they could benefit from extra intensity. So the thought was, and I want you guys to hear this because this is a very interesting premise, a very interesting discussion you do not hear talked about a lot. I am no expert, but I've been around the block enough to have read this and understood it, and it's stuck with me. Anabolic users are basically, from my understanding, going to get some desensitized receptors. Okay. When you have desensitized receptors, it kind of slows, like it kind of puts the brakes on muscle protein synthesis. This is my naive understanding, and you guys can correct me if you want. I'm not pretending to be an expert. So to kind of re-stimulate or re-wake up or desensitize that receptor and increase muscle protein synthesis and increase the benefits of future anabolic cycles, adding intensity or ways that would, up the game a little bit, were probably a good thing. So extra volume, Dorian Yates style training, right? The thought was it would resensitize the receptors and kind of open the door to better muscle protein synthesis, better results on future steroid cycles. I have some information on this in an article I wrote a long time ago, and I can dig this up for you guys. Maybe I'll go over it in a video. But it is a very interesting topic because from my understanding, anabolic users I don't understand the physiological processes that are involved with this, but it is from my understanding that anabolic users have a tendency to get desensitized receptors, which means lower muscle protein synthesis over time. So to help stimulate or resensitize these receptors, they're going to do some circus act tricks, more volume, more intensity training. So when you see these discussions about natural versus, unnatural training, later down the road, there's an argument to be made that the anabolic user that is seasoned can get more value out of more volume or more intensity, or a combination of both, or one or the other. They could go to the volume route, or they could go to the Mike Mentzer route, Dorian Yates route. Now, the natural that wants to approach, natural, potential, and I know everybody likes to make fun of natural limits, but honestly, there's no guys bigger than Steve Reeves or Reg Park naturally. So obviously, after like 60, 70 years, it's reasonable to say that when we look at all the natural champions and they're about as big as each other, that there is a reasonable natural potential because we're reasonable individuals. We don't just like to run around going, there's no limit. I can get as big as I want. Like, no, you can't. You can't. You can pretend, and you can hate me for saying you can't, but I'm not trying to limit you, because if you get as big as Steve Reeves or Reg Park or Marvin Eder or any of the classics, you're doing damn good, brother. But anyway, there's a case to be made that naturals really, at the end, it's more going to be about strength and intensity, hard training. They really have to train harder and get stronger at the end of the road, to get maybe that last 20%. So we're not talking about end limit strength. There's a lot of ways to train hard where you're not training for pure strength. Like, for example, I did a bench workout where I used the bulldozer protocol, escalating rest period. So I put 255. I put 255 on bench on the bar. For me, that's lightweight, okay? Because that's my max is around 390 right now, give or take a pound or two. So I put 255 on the bar. I did 12 reps, rested 30 seconds, And then I did max safer ups, rested 30 seconds, max safer ups, rested 45 seconds, max safer ups, rested 45 seconds, max safer ups, rested 60 seconds, max safer ups, rested 90 seconds. This was brutal. This bulldozer protocol is absolutely brutal. Your triceps will just swell up. Your chest will be sore like nothing else the next day. So even though I was using 255 as my throw around weight when my bench max was around 390, I was able to use a lighter weight, but the intensity was off the scale, right? So 255 isn't an impressive bench, really. Well, I did 255 by 12 to lead the workout. So, that's okay, right? But it's not going to like make anybody go, oh my God, he's the benching, GOAT, greatest of all time. Not even close. But the point here is that you can train with a relatively lighter weight and introduce intensity techniques that are going to be better, if not more effective than standard training, 3 sets by 10. And it's not going to be really, as a standalone, super impressive weight. I mean, I'll let you guys be the judge on that set. 255 by 12. Respectable weight. But, it's not like tossing around 355 by 10 or 315 by 10 or something like that. Denver Blues, Steve, hope you're better soon. Thank you. What do you feel about feeder sets? Depends on the implementation, how they're done. I'd have to see the protocol. There's many ways to do things properly and many ways to mess things up. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. All right, guys, we're about 53 minutes in. I have a lot of questions to go, but before we continue onwards, I just want to encourage you guys to post up your questions now. If you're new here, I'd love to help you out. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to get to know you. My whole career, if you call it that, in lifting has been about people, building relationships. I'm here to help each and every one of you. So if you need help in any way, you can head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. DM me with your questions. I answer every question on Instagram, no questions asked. I also do Q&As on Instagram at Ben the Barman, at Ben the Barman. I'm dedicated to helping you. And, if whatever you need, don't hesitate to message me. If you miss this live and you need to ask a question, you can hit me up. You can email me. You can do whatever you want. Reach out and I'd be glad to help you guys out. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. I'm here to help you out, and whatever you guys need, whatever you guys want, do not be shy about sending me your questions. Always here to help. All right, I just been looking at some of the future questions coming up. I'm going to jump ahead to this one real quick. Now we'll wait. Munir, big hairy ugly dude. Do you think the routines of golden era guys got labeled as high volume pump work were actually just cluster sets in disguise? Well, some of them, that's a good question. Some of them did use lower rest between sets. That's almost like rest pause. So cluster, rest pause, whatever you want to label it, because labels kind of just help us, point us in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? But these guys, when they were doing, like, I posted a workout of John Grymick on Instagram, and it was basically Monday and Wednesday he would work out and do a lot of volume, like 70 total sets, and then on Saturday he'd do Olympic work. So he was doing a lot of work during the week in 2 workouts. So however you slice it and dice it, these guys were working hard, splits aside. And I can't imagine him wanting to drag out 30 to 35 to 40 sets per workout with long rest periods. So I imagine a lot of Grimmick's work was pretty snappy. I don't know. I don't think these guys, I'm sure they thought about their training a lot, but I don't think they, I think the focus was on hard work and progression. Grimmick was a strength freak, right? Rolf, have a great weekend, you two. Just smashed my upper days with +1s. Brilliant. And now off to holidays. Have fun in Greece. And eat all the food and drink all the wine and have the time of your life, my friend. Jonathan, big hair ugly dude, what do you think of a 10-month bulk following the massive hour? Yeah, absolutely. I would aim around 20 to 25 pounds. Once you get on the right track the first 2 months, just keep it rolling. What do we need to look out for? You really need to be careful that you don't there's going to be times where you're going to eat more, right? You're going to go out with friends, you're going to have more drinks, you're going to have more pizza. The biggest issue people run into on a long-term bulk is that they have too many of those days. I'm on a bulk, and then they end up having too many of those days. We have to we can't just binge eat on the weekends and then have normal eating during the week, right? That's a dangerous place to be. That's like maintaining 5 days a week and bulking 2 days a week. We have to be as consistent as we reasonably can. So have fun, try to reduce those binge days down. But that's really what life is about in general. Bulking, cutting, maintaining, whatever. We have to kind of mitigate, reduce, monitor, how many days we're really blowing out. That's one of the keys to maintaining weight in general. Have you ever thought about stretching hard to do splits on chairs? No, I'll leave that for you freaks. No, I don't have any interest in doing anything like that at all. Not my thing. I've never been a stretchy, wetchy guy. So more power to you, my friend. Do you build muscle more quickly on a dirty bulk? No. You're gonna facilitate better muscle building on a general bulk, but there's a point of return. There's a limit on the point of return. Limit. Let me say this again. It's not like eat more, gain more, right? It's more like eat more, fat more. So we have to balance having a reasonable bulk where the goal is to gain 6, 8, 10 pounds of muscle in the coming year. And that's probably going to be about as much as most of us will gain during a year, 8 to 10. We have to understand that what if you move that up to like a 40-pound bulk during a year, whereas before it was a 20-pound bulk during a year and you were going to, gain 8 pounds of muscle. The goal is to gain 8 pounds of muscle. If you move that up to 40 pounds, maybe that'll move it up to 9. Maybe there will be a micro benefit. But the downside to that is you're gaining 20 to 25 more pounds of fat just to maybe gain 1 to 2 more pounds of muscle, or maybe increase the muscle building by 10%. So I'm not downplaying the potential for extra calories or dirtier bulking to slightly increase muscle mass. But if it does so, it's going to be very, very minimal. But you also are going to have more time in a cut. So if you think of it in that sense, if you then have to do a 30-pound cut, now you're taking away from your bulking time. So it doesn't make sense in that sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? The more time you spend in a cut, the less time you're spending in a bulk. So if you do a more aggressive bulk, it's going to cost you time more time in a cut later on down the road. So whatever micro benefit you'd get is going to be eaten up because you're spending more time in a cut. Hey, buddy boy. Come here, buddy. Buddy boy's back. What's up, buddy? You're the best friend I ever had. You're the best friend. Thank you, buddy. You have to go above parallel on lateral raises. No, don't overthink it. We'll worry about brace, take a big breath, brace the core, and drive them up. And wherever they go, they go. What you have to worry about more is like when speed starts to slow. That's usually when you're getting into kind of mechanical failure. Raphael, I've been watching your old videos and getting a lot of value out of them. Minimalist versus animal training. Where do you fall now? I'd have to watch a video. I'm not a minimalist. I don't really know the context of the video, so I'd have to watch that video. Let me see if I can set Buddy Boy down and actually find a video. You're the best boy, but I got to put you down, Buddy Boy. Okay. Let me see if I can find the video. And hold on, guys. I've made nearly 3,000 videos over the years. Boy, every time I turn on YouTube, I'm just getting so many Mike Menser recommendations. Let me turn this down. Okay, so I'm going to try to pull this video up and we can watch it together, guys. And then I'll kind of respond, if you guys don't mind, a little bit of fun. I just got to wait for the ads to get off here. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, skip ads. All right, so I'm going to share the screen, present, share screen. Building a full body workout, animal and minimal. All right, so let's take a listen. Let me make sure audio is up here. Let's take a listen. Welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. This way, I'm going to take a look at full body workouts and the two ways that they are typically programmed. You have the animal way and the minimal way. Before I get into that topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. All right. Full body workouts have just gained a lot of popularity in the last 5 to 7 years. Back in the day, 10, 12 years ago, when I mentioned them on forums, a lot of guys would laugh at me. I'd have a lot of the old school bodybuilders laugh at me for even considering them as an option because they were considered outdated and ineffective and just the old way of doing it and the wrong way of doing it. So when it comes to full body programming, you generally see two styles of programming. You see a very minimal style, which has a good concentration of compound movements and just a few assistance exercises or accessory exercises. And then you see the animal style of training. Okay, so I'm going to stop it here. When we were talking about John Grymick's workout a second ago. And again, you can find his workout on Instagram. I've been the barman. His was more animal style, right? A lot of sets per week. He had some arm work. He had a lot of different types of things. And so, in a sense, it didn't have a lot of exercise variety, but he had a lot of extra stuff worked in. So I would argue his was more animal style, where more minimal is just like 5, 6 exercises and a kiss on the cheek. Which tries to hit every single body part on a given day. Now, I got 2 example workouts here. The key thing to understand is the animal style of training. I call it animal because it just sounded like a good name to do it, because if you're going to hit every body part during a single day, you probably are a little bit insane. It's very challenging to do, and you're going to spend a lot of time in the gym because your program. All right, let me see if I can. So the animal style basically is you're trying to hit every body part on every day. And the minimal style, if we can fast forward, you're basically doing more minimal type of work. Where do I fall? When I program a full body workout for my clients, I tend to be in the middle, right? Between animal and minimal. I'm maybe manimal, right? Somewhere in the middle. I kind of am in the middle. I don't try to get in necessarily biceps every day. I don't try to necessarily get in triceps every day, but I try to get in enough reasonable weekly volume that it makes sense. Does that make sense? Buckle up, boo-boo babies. Buckle up, boo-boo babies. Get your nook nooks. Get your nook nooks. It's time to take your medicine. Massive Iron Dark Roast off decaf. That's like light beer. Like, we're men and women, whatever you are. I'm not going to assume your gender. We're lifters. We do dark coffee. We do black coffee and regular beer. Who in the hell has time for, why would you waste calories? It's like, if I want cheesecake, I'm going to eat cheesecake. I'm not going to have some fake cheesecake food that looks like cheesecake. If I want ice cream, I'm going to have real ice cream, right? I'm not going to have fake ass ice cream. I'm going to save some calories for real ass ice cream, right? Come on, buddy. Buddy back up, buddy. I know, buddy. I know. So I ain't doing decaf, and I'm not. I'm certainly not doing light beer. Dominic, finally catching a bit of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Good day, everyone. Thanks for all the tips. Thank you. Have you done any in-person training since COVID's ended? No. I mean, I am so slammed with client work, and during the lockdown, we just didn't get out to do anything fun. No restaurants, no events, nothing, right? So now on the weekends, it's time for me and my wife. We need that time together. And I'm going to be doing some events once I get into my house, some seminars. You guys can even stop by my house and train in my gym. 100%, just let me know. I'm going to have that opportunity available, so I'm going to start doing more of that as time permits, but I'm going to start doing seminars in Ohio and meet and greets and that sort of thing. So keep an eye out for that. Dominic, what do you think about dieting while injured? I was injured and needed physical therapy. Well, when my clients get injured, like when somebody gets injured or they get sick, usually it's a good time to consider not gaining weight, right? You're not getting any value out of a bulk. So do you want to maintain? Do you want to cut? Is a good time for a cut. Usually it's a good time for a cut. Usually if something's not going right and you're not going to be in the gym, let's use that time to cut. Let's not fear muscle loss, because if you lose a few pounds of muscle, you're going to gain it back when you bulk or get back on track. So don't worry about it. Soy Sauce Man, are you going to watch Sound of Freedom? When it comes to digital, we will definitely watch it. When it comes to cultural events or cultural things, I'm not a political guy, right? I don't affiliate with any political party. You want my honest political views. I think as human beings, we're more complex than political parties. That's just my opinion. And I have feelings on issues, but there are things that are more important, like living my life. And there's a lot of shit in leadership on both sides of the shit pile. And if you want my honest opinion, I don't like 95% of politicians. So people can often assume my politics, from one thing they see. But I'm just a human. I'm complex. So when it comes to cultural events or music or movies, I try to filter out all the politics and just, experience what is going on. So we're absolutely going to see it. We're gonna watch it, and I'm looking forward to it. But I have to preface anything, because it's very easy to get drug into the political landscape, because you're going to go see a movie. People have become so fucking reactionary, as a culture, that if you go see a movie, they think you're a certain type of person. Or if you go see like country music, there's some, like for most of my life, I've just been a metal guy, right? There's some country I really like, some guys that are really just fucking good songwriters, right? But if I post on social media that I went to a country music concert and I got a hat like this, people are going to assume I'm whatever. People like to make assumptions about you based on one thing you do. So that's why I'm kind of prefacing my yes, I'm going to go see it. I want everybody to get all reactionary. I wish you a great recovery. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. What's a good indicator that you should change your routine? If you feel burned out and you've run it for at least 3 to 4 months, yeah, go ahead. Sometimes we just start a new routine and we simply don't like it, and that's okay, right? That's okay. The only thing we have to self-monitor is if we're changing routines often and everything bores us, then we have a bigger issue we need to deal with. Raphael, I signed up for a halfie. Are you on Team Massive? Because I got some running plans. I can't remember. Look, there's so many people on Team Massive and so many people that come and go. Let me know. I got running plans. I can at least give you some basic structure. Buddy boy's down here enjoying life. That's his happy place, right, buddy boy? You're the best boy. Are you the best boy? Mm-hmm. You're the best boy. All right, where are we at? Big JP. What's proper etiquette when you rest 4 minutes on compounds? Do you sit there? First off, when I'm lifting, I don't worry about what anybody else is thinking. I usually stay in my area. If you wander away, you risk some dickhead, shitting in your spot, so to speak. Excuse my honesty. So I usually I carry my gym bag in and I keep it right by my station. I wouldn't train in a gym where I'm not allowed to take my gym bag in. I take my gym bag in and it follows me around. It has my wraps, it has my straps, it has my chalk, it has my things, it has my water, it has my stuff, right? Because I'm not a kid. I need my stuff. I'm training. I'm not playing. So my gym allows me to do that. And I keep my own clips. I keep everything. I don't have to fuck around and look for clips in the gym. I have everything right there. Excuse my language. So I keep my gym bag right there, and I make it very apparent in between sets if I have to walk away, which I generally don't, that I'm using the equipment. Sleeping 4 to 5 hours a day on a cut. Don't worry. The body's not that fragile. You just do what you can do. Focus on what you can do. Sleep as much as you can. Don't worry. It's very difficult to lose weight unless you stop training or do radical extreme fasting. Is it common to lose appetite? Yeah, it's common to eat less during the summer. I moved from a hot country and struggling to eat when I was eating and bulking in the UK. Yeah, absolutely. My wife's from Australia, much hotter than it is here. And I think it's pretty natural. We tend not to want hotter foods or certain foods, during really hot periods. I don't think it's unusual at all. Irrelevant user. In a strength-focused training program, should we use tricks to add ROM on every lift? No. Way overthinking. A strength-focused program, we need to focus on adding reps, right? Using convention, not anything else. ROM isn't going to help, right? I don't know what you mean by adding ROM. Like doing deficit deadlifts. I think people overwork things like that. That's I don't know, beside deficit deadlifts, what you specifically mean. So doing a deadlift will set. Look, the best thing you guys can do is not do deficit deadlifts until you get a really big deadlift. Some of these things aren't going to add any value until you have a decent strength base. If anything, they're just going to be distractions. You need to build a big deadlift before you need to learn the basics, right? The ropes, before you're going to get value out of deviating from the basics. Does that make sense? Johnny. Risk give out while deadlifting. Yes, you straps. VersaGrips Pros, 100%. Fuck grip strength, guys. We're deadlifting. If your grip's weak, train it after your deadlifts. I've said this 1,000 times on this channel. You never allow your grip to prevent you from building a big deadlift, RDL, or big back. That's caveman reverse thinking. Fuck grip strength. I want to build big grip strength. You know what? I want to build a big fucking deadlift, right? Fuck your grip strength. Get VersaGrip Pros, guys. I've said that 1,000 times on this channel. And I'm not coming at you, Johnny. I'm just giving you advice. Stop it, right? You don't want your grip slipping. You're going to pick up elbow tendonitis, one of the most common injuries. Get VersaGrip Pros. I have no affiliation. Don't use straps. They're hard to lock in. They're archaic. They're dated. Get VersaGrip Pros. Mine have lasted 16, 17 years. Amanda P. How to breathe during squats. Big breath. Brace the core. Squat. Coming up. Exhale as you exert. That's like that on any exercise. Fat Chicken a Bar. Good morning. Welcome to the party. Gamboni Law. Thoughts on 5 sets of 20 or 10 of 10. 1 or 2 sets. No. We do not do failure or anywhere near failure on squats and deadlifts. That's a good way to get hurt and increase the injury risk. Thoughts of 5 sets of 10 or 10 of 10. 1 or 2 reps. 1 or 2 reps shy of failure. That sounds like if you're saying 5 of 20 or 10 by 10 on squats and deadlifts, 1 to 2 reps shy of failure on all those, that sounds like a good way to die. That sounds like a good way to get injured. I'm not sure if I'm interpreting your program right. Not chasing mass. Well, I will say that would be an extreme mass building program. If you're pushing sets 1 to 2 reps of failure and you're doing that kind of volume, that would be probably an extreme mass program. I call it extreme because you're extremely pushing yourself close to getting injured as well. So I hope you take my words constructively. That is intense. That is going to be as extreme of a mass building program. I would never do that. I would consider that way too dangerous. Your lower back's going to get torn up. If you do a 10 by 10 on squats, 1 to 2 reps of failure, that is going to be a mass builder, right? Because it's 1 to 2 reps of failure. If you were just doing 10 to 10 with 135 pounds, then it's light. That's another story. GB, thoughts on Mike Menser's heavy duty. I made a video on it last week. Check that out, guys. Don't like it, over it. Did you do the Highland Sky 40? I don't even know what that is, to be honest with you. There's so many runs out there these days. But no, I've never heard of it. I'll check it out. Where do you place dips? The way I do them, more chest focused. There are also, like the assisted dip stations where they're more triceps focused. But I place them I like to do dips as a superset with push-ups or another chest exercise to really pull out the chest focus on them. Relative to other lifts, would you consider it a big hitter? No. I know there's a lot of hype around dips, and they're considered the upper body squat, and they're not by any means a bad exercise. I think they can punish the shoulders. I think we need to be a little bit more conservative with them. We need to control them a little bit better. People tend to get sloppy with them and ego lift with them. We need to take them as seriously as squats and deadlifts. But I don't consider them the big hitter. I consider them a secondary lift, and they're certainly not a priority for chest. That might sound scandalous, but a priority, there's no real exercises that are a priority. But on chest, you have to do pressing. That is a priority in some form or fashion. My triceps lit up on dips. On a reasonable bulk, if you want to eat like 600 calories of large pizza, well, outside of the rare straying occurrence, you want to be within your calorie target. I mean, if your bulk calls for 3,400 calories, and that's 300, 400, 500 over maintenance, and you're continually going 4,500, you're not on a bulk anymore. You're on some kind of Wild West fat gain program. So we always have to have bulk or not bulk, right? We have to have an eye on health. And anybody that's continually going way over their calorie total, bulk or not, right? You're just being a fat ass. That's the reality. I'm not telling anybody not to have fun, but this is the game we play, folks. If you continually go way over your calorie total and your calorie total is already over your maintenance total, you're being a fat ass, right? You're encouraging fat gain. Oh, big, hairy, ugly dude, you're telling me that not to have fun and not to bounce. You know what? If 2,500, 3,000 extra calories a week isn't having fun already, and you can't find a way to have fun with that, and maybe stretch that a little bit over once a month, you got issues, my friend. I'm not saying you, John, right? I'm speaking in general to folks watching. We have to think beyond bulk and think about health here for a moment. If you're on a bulk and you're continually blowing out and pounding alcohol and pounding food and going way over your bulk calories, you're a fat ass, right? You're going to be in fat zone. You're in fat building mode. You're no longer in a bulk. You can't control yourself. And that's more of a health issue, and that really worries me. Big Bill, learning that taking my time progressing on lifts, indeed, it is the smart way to go. It's a long road, and the best thing you can do is take your time on squats, deads, and RDLs. Lower back issues are more prominent than you can imagine. And any influencer that doesn't know it, any hashtag coach that doesn't know it, isn't coaching people in the real world. It's not the coach's fault, unless the coach is programming too much of this in. But a coach has to be very aware of this, right? Or they're not a good coach. It's one of the biggest things I'm aware of as a coach. How is your lower back feeling? How did squats treat your lower back? My clients probably get sick of hearing that, but I'm always staying targeted on that. And because we have so much internets, right? We're inundated with internets and big lifts, and we're just like, I'm just going to get monster strong rapidly. Well, your lower back's going to take a pounding eventually. So sometimes just taking it slow over 3, 4, 5 years isn't a bad thing. Allow that lower back to strengthen. Thank you for everything you teach. Thank you, sir. Sticking with one program and consistent eating habits have given me the best progress I've ever seen. And thank you for Team Massive. Zach's really brought his bench up the last few months, so I've been happy to see that. If tries fall off hard at end of a push day, they will, not if, they better, right? Or just you're not training hard enough. Should I look at adding? You can add an arm day, but I wouldn't. Look, we're not worried about triceps falling off. We want triceps to fall off. We aren't chasing numbers. We're chasing hard training. So I want your triceps to feel like a testicle that's been run over by a group of hookers with long spiked heels. How's that for a bad? I want your triceps to feel like a freaking punching bag that's been that had the living crap beat out of it by Mike Tyson. That's what we want. That's hard training. We don't want to move that away, try to avoid it. That's what we want, right? We want to beat the crap. We don't worry about like skull crushers. I only got 20 by 7 because I was fatigued at the end of my workout, and I want my skull crusher numbers to be big. Fuck your skull crusher numbers. We want hard training, right? We want hard training. We want things to feel tired. We want things to feel worked. So you can add an arm day, but don't fall into the pit like at the end of my workout, an exercise is subperforming because I'm tired, so I have to move it to a different day. No. I'm like that every day of my training life for 38 years. If I don't get to the last exercise on triceps wondering what the living fuck I'm doing in the gym, then I'm not training hard enough, and that's serious. Bench day, I usually do 6 exercises, 4 for chest, 2 for triceps. If I don't get to my triceps exercises with my triceps already with the living crap beat out of them, then I am not working my chest hard enough. But your triceps are working hard on your, no shit, they're working hard on your chest, right? It's not like my chest isn't working hard. We're using compound movements. So David, I'm never being hard on you guys, but don't move anything. That's the challenge, my man. That's the work capacity. That's the Hulkamania going wild, man. You know what I'm saying? You're just absolutely crushed at the end. Take that as a trophy and run with it. Don't move things. You want to add a junk day, add it. But man, when those triceps are down, don't you worry about the numbers. This is why I say we're not chasing numbers. Add a +1. If you feel you're like at dumbbell skull crushers and you can only do 20 by 7 because you're so damn fried, aim for 20 by 8. That's how it goes. I replace dips with matching press and chins with wide grip pull downs. That's fine. Body weight stuff, I'm not bashing on body weight stuff, so understand that. But body weight stuff is hard to progress on, generally for the average individual. Someone always going to come and say, for me, I progress super rapidly on, I get it, or dips or whatever. I get it. You did. For most people, their body weight stuff is generally harder to progress on. So if they're frustrating you, it's okay to switch exercises. It's okay to try something different. All right. Massive curl sounds brutal and fun. Give it a ride. I've tried something like that, but forearms. No, I mean that's what we were just talking about with David and the triceps giving out at the end of a workout. That's your crowning glory, man. That's what you're after. You're after something breaking down. That's a good sign. You don't want to improve it. You just want to maybe try to get one more rep when you're in that tunnel. That's the challenge, right? That's a fight just appeared. I can only do 8 to 10 reps of my curls before my forearms are toast. You know what? A fight just showed up at your door. Here's what you do. You fucking fight, right? We don't try to avoid the fight. Like, how can I circumvent my forearms giving out and continuing with the curl set? No, you put on the boxing gloves and you start to beat some fucking ass, right? This is where the fight starts. I'm going to get one more rep than last time, right? I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna knock this shit out. I'm going to try to improve. This is where the work capacity, this is where the real results start. Like you're benching, and by the time you're done benching, your triceps are toast. You don't try to avoid that. That's when the fight showed up at your door. That's when you engage, man. You're like, now we have a fucking challenge. Now we are going to go for it. Now I have a new mountain to conquer, and I'm going to try to add a +1 in this storm. The same way for the curls. 8 to 10 reps, my forearms are giving out. The fight just showed up at your door, man. The fight just showed up. Next time you are in the pit, fight for one more rep. That's what this is all about. What do you think of JM presses and rolling tricep extensions? I use JMs. I like them a lot currently. I like tricep extensions. I don't have anything really against any reasonable exercise. If somebody doesn't like the exercise, that's fine. There are no exercises that are mandatory, but I like them. Going to the gym 3 days a week on your hard gainer program, would it be detrimental if I did some? Not the day before a full body workout. We don't want to do that. If you're going to do a full body workout, excuse me, you're better off doing something like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday a junk day. And then Sunday off, and then Monday back in it. You don't want to have weakened arms, weakened delts before going into a big workout. Does that make sense? Do you like to read in your spare time? I love to read. I love to read. I'm a writer. First and foremost, if I had all the free time in the world, I'd be writing. I love to write, fiction, nonfiction. For those of you guys that don't know me, I was one of the top editors in the fitness world. I've edited endless articles, tens of millions of words, everything on muscle and brawn or muscle and strength and Tiger Fitness, nearly everything. So I love to write. Favorite genres, space, deep space, horror. I don't really care for paranormal stuff generally. Who goes through? Right. But I also love good classic literature. Sometimes if a book just looks like like a modern book doesn't look like a genre book, I'll pick it up and read it. Fat Chick in the Barn just asked if where'd your comment go? If I've written any fiction. I'll give you guys, I've written a lot of fiction. That's what got me into this, believe it or not. I started writing fiction. I want you guys to go to Amazon. I'm gonna remove this just for a second. Hang tough. I want you guys to go over to Amazon and search S. William Shaw. I use a different name for my fiction books. These are very old, right? But if you search S. William Shaw, where are we at? Here we go. I started writing children's fiction. And yeah, they're old. These are my two books. 2007. Those are Sherman Oak and the Magic Potato. It's about a kid that gets bullied, and the Santa Mysteries. They're basically adventure books, for kids 8 to 11, 12. I used to really enjoy, like books like The Hobbit or adventure books. I I like books that don't always have to be overthought for kids, that are just a fun experience, right? A fun adventure. And before I started writing for Muscle and Brawn, I started just writing books. Read every book on writing you could get. I was in writing groups, and these probably desperately need of an edit, but I think they're pretty good reads, and they're available on Amazon. Still available. Yep, that's still available. I mean, I make $25 a year from this stuff. I don't even pay attention if it's available. I'll get like a check in the mail, right, from Amazon like once a year for $27. So it's not like any big deal. But I love to write. I love to write more than anything. I would write a lot of fiction, weird science fiction. You know, the TV show From. I don't know if any of you guys watch that, but if you want to ask me what type of fiction or what type of science fiction that's not, like deep space stuff that I wrote, it's kind of like really weird fiction, science fiction, fantasy stuff. Like I would equate it to kind of like From, in a sense, in that genre, where there's mysteries and there's things going on that don't make sense. And it's kind of an adventure. I like adventure themes, right? And if you've watched the TV show From, or you watch the TV show Lost, or you watch TV shows like that, there's sciencey stuff, but it's also an adventure, right? I love adventure types of books. And I also love to write horror. There are probably 100 different books and 400 different chapters I wrote back in the day on this computer of stuff I just wrote. I probably could put it out into one big compendium of crap, but just for curiosity. But who has the time to do that? Where are we at? Really love your videos and your concept. Thank you. So your rep goal system really helped me. Just want to say thank you. Thank you. It's a good way to focus training. So I'm glad that it helped. Mark, I've been training for 1.5 years and seeing great results. That's wonderful. I also have some belly fat. Doubting between just keep training Mark, you can send me a photo if you want on Instagram. I've been the barman. If you want me to do a body fat assessment, you could join Team Massive Iron. If you want, you can do body fat assessments there. It doesn't have to be a shirtless picture or anything scandalous like that. But if I can kind of see, even with a shirt on, where you're carrying your fat, your man boob fat, your belly fat, what the bigger picture is, I'd be better able to give you advice. So, Buddy Boy's back. I've always been one to skip breakfast. No issues there. Come on, buddy. You just can't stop getting the attention today, can you? You're just the best boy I ever knowed. I've always been one to skip breakfast. No problems at all. No problems eating till noon. Most people have the opposite problem. They eat way too much before noon. Don't worry about meal timing beyond worrying about it around your workouts. You want to probably go into your workout with some hydrated, with some electrolytes, with some glycogen. So even a small meal 2 to 3 hours before your workout. Beyond that, you don't have to worry about anything. The JOSH. I've been doing my own loop variant 7 days a week. I auto-regulate my volume intensity. Do I need to rest today? Well, if you're training hard, look, you are experiencing pain on your off days. If you have found a place to train every day of the week and it's sustainable for you, then do it, my friend. Because at the end of the day, a big part of this journey It's just finding something that is sustainable for you. Raphael, when talking about natural potential, people tend to forget about Mike O'Hearn. Yeah, easy to forget about Mike, Mr. Natty. All right, Albert. Thoughts about trigger sensing sessions? I'm nothing against greasing the groove. I just think it's a lot of hoo-ha. I think you can overwork movement patterns. So if you're doing a lot of greasing the groove and doing push-ups every day and pull-ups every day, you're going to encourage injuries. The only thing I got to do out of doing push-ups every day was overuse injuries. Isn't that, buddy? Levin, what was your MOS in the Army? I was unit supply. Back then it was 76 Yankee. I believe when I was in it, got moved to 92 Alpha right when I was leaving. Great explanation on the anabolic desensitization. Thank you. Curious about a video implementation for naturals. Yeah, I don't think naturals really experience receptor fatigue. They don't have like the anabolics attacking their receptors. So I don't think they run into the same issues. I see some of the questions that you guys posted aren't popping up, but I'll get to them. Not sure if this is some voodoo stuff or what, but ever since I joined Team Massive, I keep getting stronger. Tim, you train really, really hard, and you're doing wonderful. So just keep it up. And you are just doing an amazing job, and you have a big, big, big potential ahead of you. Let's see. There's some of your questions that haven't popped up yet, so I want to make sure I get them. Love you, Stephen. NH. Any new shirts coming up? I don't know. I kind of do them when I have a few minutes of off time, so haven't had a chance yet. I know you don't approve, but how can I bulk and still have a binge? I don't, man. I don't. You can't. I don't encourage. I understand. The only way you can look, if you want to have a big meal, the only way to reasonably do so is to fast and then save all your calories for one big meal at night. If that's not enough for you, then, I'm not going to say you need counseling, but you might need counseling. You know what I'm saying? Richard, have a great weekend. Thank you, Richard. Some of the questions aren't showing up on StreamYard, but I can see them here. So I can't post them up here. But I have Richard or Gilbert. No, Gilbert. What lift do you suggest to post for form review? Anything really. Form review videos. If you want me to do form review videos on Instagram or on Team Massive, you can. And sorry, StreamYard stopped posting these comments, so I hesitate to refresh StreamYard because I don't want to lose all the comments. So I'm just going to read them, and they're not going to be on the screen. Form review videos, anything really. I mean, one thing I can tell you in coaching is that people mess up a lot of things: curls, seated cable rows, lat pull downs. So it's good to have me look at all of your lifts over time, just to make sure, hey, they're on track, you're doing good. Or hey, like on seated cable rows, get a minor stretch, stop. I give people speeding tickets, or they're moving too fast. Sometimes people just try to lift too quickly. So that's a common issue. 1 set. My squat is currently 225 by 8. Sorry, these comments aren't appearing on my live platform, but I can see them here. He says my squat is it's 225 by 8. I'm going to hold on a second. Let me try this, folks. Can I copy? All right, let's do it this way. Hold on. My squat is currently 225 by 8. What is a realistic time frame where I could see 315? Okay, so right now you have a pretty good squat. Okay, you have what I would call a early intermediate squat. Adding a rep every 3 to 4 weeks, you're looking at a 90-pound gain. There's no reason you couldn't get that in a year. Plus ones aside, everything aside, you could potentially do that in a year to 16 months. It's not going to be easy, but it is definitely reasonable. So I would keep that goal. Shoot big, my friend. All right, next one. Forgot to mention earlier, I started watching your videos a few weeks ago, and they're helping me a lot. Started using your rep goal system, and I like it a lot. Thanks for everything you do. You're welcome, and I appreciate your support. Let me know if you need any help. Guys, I can't stress enough that I don't want to be just another YouTuber behind a box. I want to get to know you guys. I want to help you guys. I want to build a relationship with you guys. And I know that sounds weird and different, but I'm here to help. So you can reach out anytime on Instagram. You can join Team Massive. You can email me, whatever. YouTube comments aren't always the easiest for me to respond to, but I just want you guys to know this is what I love to do and do for a living. So whatever you guys need help with, I'm here for. Bucks for life. When moving up weight on the bench, should I go up? Yes, 5. Always do the minimum. If anything, going too aggressive is going to slow progress. You can hit 7 reps on bench at one weight, bump it up 10, and then only hit 4 the next week. You want to always go minimum. It's not going to speed things up by adding 10 pounds. If anything, it's just going to take things more slowly, and you're going to increase risk of injury. Allow your connective tissue and joints and everything else, your central nervous system, to adapt as well. Any new interviews coming for the channel? No. It's not that I'm against them. I just am so hyper focused right now. I'm working on a training app. I'm working on a new book. And right now I'm just in my tunnel, my tube. Gilbert. Hold on, I'm posting it. Is a physique like Frank McGrath? No, not at all. Not at all. Let me pull up Frank for those of you guys that do not know. We'll get a good clean image here. Let's see, where's Frankie? Hold on, folks. We're trying to get a good picture of old Frank McGrath. All right, the question is, can you look like Frank McGrath naturally? And no, not even. Not even, my friend, not even. Not in any world, not without mega PEDs. Doo says, cute doggo, thank you. John, hold on, John. I'm going to copy your question and post it up here. Last call for questions, guys. We got about 5 in the queue, so if you have any questions, get them in now. I can only work out 2 times a week. And I'm so scared that you can pack on a lot of muscle, my friend. If you train hard 2 times a week with the right structure, you can pack on a lot of muscle mass. You can still pack on 6, 7, 8 pounds of mass. That's a lot of mass. So focus on what you can control. Get a really, really good program. If you need help with programs, check out mine, and you'll be fine. The people that don't pack on mass are the quitters. Could you please do a motivational video on the topic? 2 days a week? Maybe I'll revisit the 2 days a week. Somebody DM me on Instagram and remind me to do a new 2-day-a-week program. Let's see, Buddy Boy's trying to keep his head buried in my elbow, but not let his feet. He's trying to keep his head buried in my elbow like this, but then his feet keep going off my hand. He likes to keep his little nozzle, his nose nice and warm. If I have a bad leg day, head not in, just go through the session. You're going to have bad sessions. Like, that's life. You're going to have bad days in a relationship. You're going to have bad days at your job. One thing you need to do is get your head out of the game and in the long-term process. Anybody that thinks failure or bad days are something to be feared needs to come to grips with the reality that it is part of the process. There's so many things in the human body that can go wrong. Your energy, your glycogen, your central nervous system, your immune system. Mentally, you're just not into it. You're just having a down cycle, stress, sleep, whatever. But those who persist and continue to trust the process will always be successful. All right, I'm sorry I have to do it this way, but StreamYard stopped posting questions. So Big Paul from Team Massive did 2x10 on squats. Felt like I barely got there. On third set, I said I'm going to push, and I got 15. What the hell? That, my friend, motivates me. That is what it's all about. Because when it comes to things like squats, or you feel like you don't have anything left. When you start to learn that you do, that's an important point in your training. Like, squats are very much like that. Not so much with deadlifts, but squats, physically we feel like death, but there is almost always another rep there's almost always another rep. Just be safe. All right. Posting the question. Can someone with lifelong insomnia? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't know anything about insomnia. I'm not an expert, but I do know the body will respond to good nutrition, consistency, and hard work. So let it rip. Okay, let it rip. You can get plenty. A root. Bought a wrist roller. I love wrist rollers. Wrist roller is one of my favorite forearms. A couple times up, a couple times down, 3 times a week is a good start. 2 to 3 times a week. I wouldn't really superset it. I'd just get really proficient at it. And then if you want to start supersetting or doing some shenanigans, you can go from there. All right. Good full body routine for an intermediate. Wow. I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Gates. Intermediate programming should be constructed based on the information we have on that intermediate lifter, where they train, exercise choices that they prefer, a lot of specific variables. So to put together a general intermediate routine for intermediates is more challenging. I do offer a programming service. It's only $49 for a custom program if you guys are interested. But any intermediate program, I can give you a basic starting point, but it's going to look like any of my other workouts just compressed into a 3-day. So you could basically check out my muscle and my massive iron collection, which you can get over at superlivingtoday.com. It has like 350 pages of every workout ever. It gives you a ton of ideas. You can compress them in a full body pretty easily. And I already got to that one, Miss Chick. That was the inspiration for me talking about my writing. Keep the questions coming, guys. I'll stay on as long as you have questions. Do you specifically train your neck? No. My neck is 20 inches. I know because we just tried to get my shirts fitted last week, and it was frustrating. Because when you have a 20-inch neck, the material in the center is usually built for a big belly. So it's very frustrating. But no, I do not train neck, and I have a 20-inch neck. You do not need to train neck directly. That's what you guys need to understand. It's going to grow naturally. So if you want to invest time in it, do so, but you do not need to do it to grow a big neck. What's your favorite minor league baseball team? The Dayton Dragons are real close. When we go see a minor league game, it's going to be in the Dayton Dragons. Just a fun experience. Ellie De La Cruz played there last year. I got to see him a few times. That's low A ball, I believe. So a lot of the old Dayton Dragons move on to play real ball. My dog's about to fall. Matt Klein, I just want to say thank you. Excited to take up training up a notch. Fully remote. That's cool, man. Talk to me more about that. So I don't want to miss out on that. Fully remote is an exciting opportunity. I had to set my dog down because he's getting a little bit. Matt's got another question. Let me paste it in here. Are you still selling your fitness equipment? I have it, but I took it off the website just because shipping. I'm moving into my house. I'm going to move it over there. So I love how sturdy your incline bench is. So I'm still going to have stuff, but I took it off the market until I move my house. All right. We got Don't You Bark. No, it's not okay. That's a lot of junk volume. If you can do 30 sets of chest per week, you're not training hard enough. It's tons of junk volume. Just tons. You need to focus more on your hard training and pull that volume back a little bit. If James Tinybest's okay. Me and him are friends on Facebook. He had an injury. He's okay. He's just not posting YouTube videos. So he is okay. All right. We got him. I just have to paste him. What's your superpower? How do you know when you become intermediate? First off, I hate the terms. And I've talked about this before. It's kind of rambling to get into, but you have to have it's not just as simple as lift numbers. There's a lot of good guys out there that have decent lift numbers. Well, now they popped up, that have really crappy form. So it's not just about numbers. We need to understand that. You need to have reasonable form. You need to have established a track record of decent strength results, decent muscle results. And, you need to have established a degree of consistency. An intermediate lifter is going to look like they lift. They're going to have pretty reasonable strength, pretty reasonable form. Does that make sense? I've never had big quads, and I'm wondering if it's as simple as getting strong on the squat, not just the squat. No. Because everybody is different. And some of us on the squat are more ham dominant, glute dominant, hip dominant. Some of us have different limb lengths and leverages, so we're going to have to kind of move things around a bit. So you don't want to do just squats. That's one of the main issues with the modern lifting landscape is when we get this cult of minimalism and we're only doing like one exercise per body part. You need to do more. You need to do leg presses or hack squats or vertical leg presses, lunges, leg extensions. You need to have a good mix for quads. Let's see, where are we at? People stress full range of motion, but they also say not to do ass. There are two different discussions. We have to take every exercise on a case-by-case basis. Going arbitrary on a squat, right, is a good way to beat up your lower back. It's not requirement for big legs. It's not requirement for a good squat. It's not inconsistency at all. It's just that I think you're interpreting. It's just that people put out, influencers and coaches put out stupid blanket rules for everything. And they sound good on their little box called YouTube. You need to do full ROM, team full ROM. Well, not every exercise is the same. There's nuance. You go full ROM in the squats and you start to worship ATG over good tight form, and you're going to beat the shit out of your lower back. Period. End of story. So this generic crap, we have to be careful. It's a cancer in the industry. Why do people say there are 3 parts to the chest? Isn't there? Look, I hate overthinking stuff. This is something I'm just being honest with you, and I respect you. You know I'm not being hard on you, but this is something I've given absolutely 0 fucks over in the course of 38 years. Who cares is the big question. And I'm saying this because I care. Who fucking cares, right? We have to put together a reasonable exercise selection with variety, and that's going to hit everything you need to hit, right? And all these little debates, like who fucking cares, right? You can do benches and build an upper shelf. Like most guys aren't even going to build a big chest to begin with. Why are we wasting time on this shit? Let's build a fucking base, guys. I want to build an upper shelf. How about we just build a goddamn base of chest mass first before we worry about whether we're building an upper shelf? You might not have an upper shelf because you might not have any damn chest mass to begin with, right? All this stuff is such a waste of fucking time. It is a waste of time. It's just like mental masturbation. Go study chest anatomy, right? I mean, there's regions of every muscle group, okay? We're not being silly. Like you have a chest muscle and how far do you want to take the regions, right? How far do you want to take the regions? Upper, mid, lower, right? Well, maybe let's build a bigger spectrum with 8 regions, right? Upper, extra, middle, upper, lower, extra, lower, upper, middle, upper, extra, lower, middle, right? And that's really tie ourselves in a fuck knot. Try to hit upper, extra, lower, upper, middle, extra, upper, double, like it's like fucking Hobbit's meal plan, like second breakfast and whatever. It's like, what the fuck are we doing? None of this stuff really matters at all. I mean, upper, lower, middle. Yeah, there's upper, lower, middle biceps, upper, lower, middle quads, inner, outer, what are we doing other than whining our dick in a knot, right? That's all we're doing is whining our dick in a knot. Excuse my honesty, but we got better things to do, like get in the gym and train hard on a reasonable exercise selection. Everything's going to grow. Like these people that just get on the social media and, whine their dick in a knot about, all this stuff that has no value to you guys. If you have a reasonable exercise selection and you get strong, we don't have to compartmentalize every muscle group in the inner, outer, upper, lower, middle, upper, lower, middle, right? Fuck that. Don't waste your time on shit like this. Massive respect. Thank you. I love doing these lives, man. I'm just thankful anybody wants to watch. I'm just thankful I have enough to give that is of value. And excuse my ranting and raving. It's just live. We're just having fun. Nearing my 40s, things you advise. First thing I advise is to stop thinking, you have a long way to go. I've trained incredibly hard from 40 to 55. Focus on what you can control. If there are lifts that you can't do that beat up your body, don't worry about it. Focus on what you can control and train hard. You can train a lot harder and a lot longer, a lot deeper. Would I have done anything differently? No, not a damn thing. I love what I do. And everything that I do, Passion drives my results. I wouldn't change a damn thing. I would not change a damn thing. If anything, I would change. I would have started ultra running when I was 22. I'd be 100-mile running motherfucker, right? I would be running and lifting and showing the world and all the stupid fucking shit, that we were. You can't ultra run and you can't build muscle at the same. All this paranoid bullshit. The body's so fragile. These. It's such stupid shit. If I had to change anything, I would have started ultra running when I was 22. And I would have got to 50 with like 100 milers in my back pocket and with a 600-pound deadlift and telling everybody to fuck off.
Same here and here. Okay.
How many skinny guys still pull humongous numbers? They're outliers. I mean, we tend to see some skinny guy pulling like 780 online on deadlift, and then we get all the questions like, I don't want to build mass. I want to get my deadlift to 780. Like, good luck, pal. That guy's a freak of the week, right? So we see the 5 guys that are outliers, and like we start to think a 600-pound deadlift is easy. A 600-pound deadlift isn't easy if you weigh 300 pounds. Does size come with strength? Size comes with proper training, and strength comes from size. I can't stress this enough. This is common knowledge. But it's not common in our industry because we have a bunch of fucking idiots running content. It's common knowledge. Look this up. In almost every case, the strongest power lifter in their group is almost always the biggest power lifter. This is not a fantasy. This is not an opinion. This is reality. Let me repeat. This was talked about so much earlier in the year by major experts, not just by my little mouth. The strongest power lifters, when they look at their muscle mass, the strongest are almost always the biggest muscle-wise in their class. Let that resonate like a fart in church. Okay? Strongest is almost always the biggest. Big doesn't make you strong. Big gives you the platform to be strong. There's no downside to having size, only upside. If you want to be strong, you need to build a big base of muscle. And you need to, this is what I do. This is the massive iron style. We try to build as much muscle and strength as humanly possible. Strength, we build the muscle base because we want to be big, but we build it for a platform for strength. And we also chase our +1 safely. Everything is in synergy when you do it right. That's what I call power building. That's what I call the massive iron world. Power building is dead. Shut the fuck up. Right? All these stupid discussions. Not everyone is hungry for strength like I am. Hungry about the big lifts. That's what the heart of power building is about. But you guys think that these strong guys that are skinny, they're not skinny, right? They have good muscle mass and they're lean. They keep their body weight down. They're not skinny, right? They're compared to other guys in their class, they have more muscle mass. It's scientifically shown. Now the outliers might be able to pull 100 more pounds, but in almost every case, they're not skinny. They're small to you, but they're bigger than anybody else in their class. End rant. I followed your torso limbs for about 2 months and great results. Glad to hear it. I used to do push-pull legs. Feel like putting gym volume down help. It's a lot of gym training. And if you like to push pull leg 6 times a week, most of us, if you like to train more than 4 days a week, that's fine. Some weeks I do 5 with a jump day. But, ultimately 4 days is great. 5 days, 4 or 5 days, if you could in a perfect world, is about almost anybody will ever need. Some guys like to do 6. If you're recovering, let it, go for it. It sounds cool. So I'm curious from your perspective if there's anything there. Why I don't know why people obsess. You know why people obsess? He's talking about like chest, upper, lower, middle. Like, because it makes a good video. We're gonna build your upper chest and give you a shelf. Like, ooh. Right? Excuse my lame ass humor. I'm just being real, guys. We're going to give you a top so we can put a bourbon bottle on your upper. Ooh, much excitement. I'm going to watch this video, content producer. Right? It's true, though. All right. We're just getting goofy now. I'm just getting goofy now. It's true, though. You guys know it. I'm going to give you 3 exercises to show you how to build a top shelf, upper deck level, super duper chest. You can hold a dance party on your upper chest. I mean, seriously. If you just went in the gym and you never knew anything about this and you just did reasonable training, it's going to build what it's going to build, right? This whole idea of magic exercises or retarget regions. We target a muscle with various muscle groups, but it's not like if we only did decline press our whole life and never did flat or upper, that we'd have like big lower man muscle titties and nothing here, right? It doesn't work like that. Yes, there's something to regional hypertrophy where a certain area might be stressed a little bit more than others. But it's not like if you only did an upper chest, you'd have the shelf and then everything would be flat and no muscle. That's ridiculous. It's not how it works. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Your answer while we tune in, let it rip. Thank you. I don't know if you tune in for my bad humor, though. So thanks for answering my question. You're welcome. These are awesome. I appreciate you guys' support. Last call, guys. Following up on a rep range question. Do we adjust rep ranges to maximize the hard work on a given exercise? So if 12 to 15 feels light, play around, use your intuition. It's a given that we have to do progressive overload, right? So given that we have to do progressive overload and that the weight's going to eventually feel heavier, pick the rep range you like to work in right now. And don't be afraid to change it. I had a woman in the gym saying to me that at the bar that I would be able to pack on muscle because I wasn't built for it. You know what? Dude, that pisses me off for you. That makes me want to adopt you as a child and train you for 2 years. And you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Seriously. That pisses me off. I'd like nothing more to that stuff. That should kick you in the eye of the tiger mode. Is a physique of Jesse James attainable? Jesse James. Let me. I don't look at these guys. I'd like to say I have all the free time in the world. I don't even know if, what's recent, what's not recent. I don't know if they took stuff, didn't take stuff. Here, I got a photo for you guys. So I'm not speculating on natty status. So the dude on the right, he's lean. There's nothing unusual about his physique. His traps are pretty generic. His chest this is just all genetics. I'm not bashing on the guy. Delts are pretty unimpressive. Triceps If you look at his triceps on the right arm, they're pretty unimpressive. He has a little bit of a bulgy bicep. Just that picture is not very flattering, so I'm just basing off of one picture, but I mean, natural, that looks definitely attainable natural. Just want to say thank you. I appreciate that. Tom, no, there's no irrelevant questions. Post away. That's what I'm here for. I work out frequently and follow a certain program. However, I have one issue. Every exercise goes smoothly except for seated overhead press. Tom, I would have to know more. I'd have to know more information. Smoothly, progression, form, feel, setup. I would have to know a little bit more. So if you can share a little bit more, we still got a few seconds. Thanks, David. I guess as I'm nearing 40, I don't want to waste more time. You don't want to waste time. You do not want to waste time. So train hard, use good form, consistency, nail your nutrition, get the eye of the tiger. I'd like nothing more to help each of you guys change. I was 13 at 127, was able to rack pull 335 with good form. I'm now 14 at 138, got the 375, which is a good goal since we're out of power. How should I be? But I don't. Silent tape. It's not my place to give teenagers information without parents' consent. So I'm just going to speak to the netherworld in general. I do not know your circumstance. You're a 14-year-old. I'm speaking in general terms, not to you. 14-year-old has natural room to grow. My advice for a parent that would want that has a 14-year-old to lift is to focus. This is my advice to the parent, is to focus on encouraging the teen to eat as healthy as possible, as much as possible, and not to worry about weight. To help your teen focus on form, maybe find a coach. If your teen is super fired up about lifting, why not get your teen a coach like they had a coach for basketball or football or cross country? Because more than anything, lifting can impact your quality of life. So if you are a parent that has a teen that has an acute interest in lifting, you might want to consider getting them a good coach. And it can be more affordable than you would suspect. But I would tell the parents to encourage the teen to focus on taking care of themselves with food and establishing really good health habits. Last call, guys. How much ashwagandha do you recommend to take? Do you cycle off it? No, I don't cycle off. Trying to show you what I take. I don't cycle off. I take the gummies just because they're easier and I get tired of swallowing pills. I'll show you guys what I take if I can find it real quick. Where are you? Well, I take ashwagandha gummies. I think they're 5 milligrams? I don't know, man. My brain's sold. I can't remember what the heck I'm doing. Is it 300 milligrams? For some reason, I'm thinking 300 milligrams, but no, I don't cycle off it. All right, guys, that's it. We're 2 hours and 20 minutes in. Don't go anywhere. Before you guys go, I want to say thank each and every one of you for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's a dream for me to be able to do this for a living, and I want to give you guys the best advice I can. I don't want to be just another YouTuber. I want to help you guys, each and every one of you. So if you need help, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Ben the Barman. Email me, benthebarman@gmail.com. Please consider joining teammassiveiron.com. There's a small gateway fee, but it's worth it. You can be part of a good community, get form checks, micro coaching, access to a lot of my information for free, direct access to me for questions, easier access. And coaching is what I do for a living. I'd really like to work with you guys. After the first month, my coaching is only $89.40 a month. First month, it's just a hair more because we have to do setup calls and all that kind of stuff. But I'm with my clients every single day. I'm not a check-in once a week coach. I'm with you every single day. I try my best to build a relationship and to help my guys every day. You're going to get out of it what you put into it, but you can check that out at superlivingtoday.com. I also have a workouts tab and a supplements tab. I'm not a supplement company, but I have a whey protein and a creatine that are top quality, and I wouldn't mess around with it if I didn't. It's not like I'm a supplement company. You'd be putting $5 in my pocket. But if you want to support the little guys, check that out. I have tons of great apparel and T-shirt ideas. Check out the apparel tab over at superlivingtoday.com. All right, I got a few more questions. Weigh 72 kilos and following your threes program. The form gets worse. Are you standing seated? I would recommend trying to do seated pressing with the back about 70 degrees. And maybe start from a pin press position right about here. Press the first rep down, up. You don't have to lower it to the pins for the second rep, but you can just kind of do that. Do you have a P.O. box? You can, anybody that wants, you can DM me on Instagram if you need my address. I don't have a P.O. box. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, sexy people. We'll see you next week. Remember to come back at 11 a.m. Eastern next Friday. I'm here every Friday. I'll be here, and if I'm not here, I'm probably dead. See you guys later. Bye.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.